Good morning and welcome to the Elevate Renatus team call. This is your host, Keely Austin, and today is Takeoff Tuesday. It's May 12th. As of right now, we have 63 participants on the line. Make sure that you reach out to your team. We do not want any ICMs left behind. Bill Predebon is here in Scottsdale, and he is an awesome individual who I've come to know over the last few years. And what I love about Bill is that he's so passionate about everything that he does. He's passionate about animals. He's passionate about his wife, Sherry. He's passionate about his business with Renatus. And it really shows every single time you hear him speak. He just speaks from the heart. And again, so passionate, so enthusiastic, and his energy just radiates. So I love that about you, Bill. And we have just some of Bill's background so that you guys understand some of Bill's story. And just keep in mind, these are just highlights. Bill has a really, really cool story, especially when you hear the full story. So before Renatus, Bill was a pro skier for 10 years in Vail, Colorado, and he realized that he was not qualified to do much else. He bought a couple stores and got into the franchise business. And due to lack of knowledge, that ended up costing him the business, and he ended up losing the stores and losing everything. In 2007, he heard about real estate investing. However, instead of getting education, he attempted to do it on his own. And I think a lot of us find that with our marketing, we find a lot of people who want to go out and just do this on their own without paying for it. And I think we've all learned that you end up paying for your education one way or another. So when Bill attempted this on his own, he ended up upside down in over $400,000 during the 2008 crash, just simply because he didn't know what he didn't know. Then, he then found Renatus, and in his first year, he made 8 times more than he did the previous year working for himself as a loan officer. And ever since then, Bill has completed now over 150 real estate transactions, and he's grossed multiple 7 figures in real estate. He's also a marketing leader. He's recognized by our CEO, Bob Snyder, as a PIT team member, meaning he's in training to be on the PAC, the President's Advisory Council. And we're so fortunate to get to learn from you this morning, Bill. Good morning.
Keely Austin, can you hear me okay? Can you hear me okay?
Yes, you sound awesome.
Oh, good. I was a little concerned. I couldn't get my speaker working earlier. Woohoo! All right, let's see.
Good.
Welcome, 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 everybody. Keely, thanks for that awesome introduction. I appreciate it. I love being passionate about this. It's funny, I'll have arguments with Dr. Gary on leadership or something, and I'll raise my voice, and sometimes with even some of my team members, and I'm like, they're like, stop yelling. I'm like, I'm not yelling, I'm just speaking with passion. But I think there's a difference. But no, you know, I'll tell you, it's important, and it's not like you create passion as a skill set necessarily, but it's more of a belief, right? And so it's hard to be passionate about things that we don't know about, right? Or that we're not familiar with, or that we haven't really had great experiences with. So we'll actually talk to that today. I'm excited to talk today. I'm excited to bring some info, but I'm excited for some Q&A as well. Keely, thanks for all you do for us. It was awesome to have you on Super Saturday this Saturday. I know you're bouncing back and forth. You got a lot on your plate with, you know, the Michael Huggins community over there in Utah, combined with Colorado, as well as our community here in Scottsdale. So you do so much for us behind the scenes, and this is just a small piece of it, and it pays off over time. It really, you know, everybody's got a different journey, you guys. I swear to God, it's not a big deal. There's no rush. And but you'll see, and Keely's a living proof of it, the more you experience commitment to different aspects of Renatus and your communities and stuff, the more you'll experience, I think, what you're looking for in your business itself. Cool. Thank you, Lee, my friend. All right. Top of the morning to you guys. Welcome, welcome, welcome. All right. So I've got a few things to chat about. of course, God, when can I ever run out of stuff to say, right? But if there's anything you guys want to talk about today, and you've got a question, you've got like a person you're dealing with, you've got, it's not that it's any other different than any other Tuesday. And Dane does this a lot too. Then chat it in or come off mute. You know what I mean? You guys know me. I'm totally cool with interrupting me and getting something specific to what you've got going on. And typically that comment, you guys have heard this throughout your whole lives. Whenever you're thinking of something, so is multiple other people. So feel free to, if you've got a situation with a customer or a client or a prospect or a guest that you'd like me to address, give you my opinion, I'm more than happy to. And, if you got any questions or whatever, so we'll chat to that. I'll tell you, I think I'm at, we're in May. And today I have a one-on-one. I have two of them actually today, but one-on-one where she texted last night and she's ready to place her order and pay, and she's got her ducks in a row to pay for her order. But it's been probably, well, I'll tell you, it's probably been 3 solid months that I've been working with her. So she came to, we met a couple one-on-ones live. So that was back before Corona. All right, cool. I've already got a good question here. What do you do with ICMs who start and do nothing, including the onboarding? What do you do with ICMs who start and do nothing, including the onboarding? I do everything I can, you guys. And sometimes it bites me in the butt, right? I almost swore. I'm almost swore. So I gotta control that. So here's the thing. Like, I feel like it's very important I think it's very important whenever we introduce someone to Renatus and someone decides to get enrolled at some level, whatever it is. I don't care if it's ICM or, ICM and Essentials and whatever, that we understand why, right? That they're doing it because they want to do it. And I know it's hard because we know what we want them to do based on and it's not because we're selfish or trying to make money. It's because we are interested. Now, this is true. Listen, we're interested. What we know, if you asked me, if you said, Bill, how do I do what you're doing? Like, I get this a lot. Like, it's not just once in a while. Like, people want to know, how, and everybody, as you get to experience things differently, people are going to ask you how you did it, right? And it's not like, oh, I just joined this community and I started learning how to study. Okay, I get that. But like, when I used to coach, right? So I would coach. But when I took a hiatus from Renatus, there was a lot of things I was doing in real estate. And one of them I decided as an extra stream of income, and it came out of kind of a demand. People were like, that I was working out with at the gym. They wanted to know what I did. So I started coaching, and I was coaching at $10,000 every 6 months, or $10,000 per person for 6 months. And I give them 6 months of my time. And I would do between 6 and 10 clients at a time. And 10 was too much. And I would do, and so I would do like 6 clients at a time. And what I found was I could not give them enough information. Like, I know enough, but in that amount of time for it to be worth my while, I couldn't disclose everything I knew. I couldn't teach them every strategy. You guys know that just from watching the education, and I don't even have the expertise to teach them a lot of our financial, wealth creation strategies, 1031 exchanges, title and escrow, although I know that pretty well, but you know what I mean? Like, they were losing for 10 grand more. They could get 1 billion times more information. So what I'm getting at with this is this. When we enroll people, we know that if we don't help them get enrolled and they don't enroll at some point, including yourselves, that they're gonna sell themselves short on what their ability is to get things done the way they want to do it, with a couple different factors. Number one, they can do it with less risk. They can have a better shot at it, like to really be successful the first time around or the second time around. and they can do it faster. And really they could do it better. They could do it far better than what they think it is that they want to do. Okay, and I'll explain that. So to answer your question, Renee, and for everybody, is when I enroll somebody, I know that this is true, and I know that it's up to them, right? I'm not going to take credit for their success, just like Bob Snyder says. This is from him, right? I'm not going to be, hey, Jimmy flipped a house, and Bill enrolled him, it's so awesome that Bill did that. No, Jimmy did that, right? All I did was introduce him to a system that I bought into, okay? And I'm also not going to be going, hey, but Jimmy didn't do crap with this. He's filed a complaint with, the BBB or something, and it's Bill's fault. No, it's not my fault, right? I didn't do it. But with me and my ICMs is I'm constantly going to text them. I put them on my group text. I constantly reach out to people. Now, unfortunately, over time, the less people talk to me and reach out to me, and the less they show up to events, the less communication I have with them. I don't know what it is. It's human nature. But every once in a while, I try to go through. I have 60-something people on my group text that I've enrolled over the last 4 years, and I reach out to all of them, sometimes on a very weekly basis, to individuals. So for me, I know they're not going to do. Not everybody does everything. Everybody's life, it just gets in the way. And it's just the way it is, but eventually they'll be around and you'll be there for them and they'll remember that. Don't go out of your, you don't have to drag them or push the rope, as they say, and all that stuff. But I stay in contact with them like I would with a guest that has that interest. They've already committed. I hope that helps. The onboarding is a problem. Just because, remind people they really need to understand the calendar. That's the biggest thing. They've got to be able to register themselves and their guests. And, if they're coming to events at all and they're not registered, then, I'll beg for them to sit down and just talk to me. And I text people a lot. I'm like, listen, if you're not sure with this, that, if you don't understand the business subscription, the OES, whatever it is, just text me. We'll get on a phone call. And I try to personally coach them through the system, guide them through the system. All right. I have a gentleman that says he wants to join, but he does not have money yet. I feel like that's him saying, I don't see the value in it yet. He texted me yesterday saying a friend got a house she inherited and it's overpriced. What can he do? I said, I lean on my Renatus group in education. This is a complex situation. I could not possibly spend that much time as is necessary. Should I find Ohio group to help him? I want this to be a learning experience for him. All right. This is going to happen, you guys, for the rest of your lives in Renatus, in my opinion. This is not uncommon. And so this is hard. The easiest way to handle this situation is give him the help he wants. Give them what they need. Connect him with the Ohio community, talk to people, blah, 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 and connect them and make the connection and hope he sees value, and then they're going to buy in. Unfortunately, I can't even explain it. I'm not a psychiatrist or psychologist, but they will get what they want and they will move on. That will not be the reason they join Renatus, is because you help them. I know this for a fact. I've experienced it. So in my opinion, this is my opinion. We have to separate the deal from Renatus. I don't have a rule that says I can't work with somebody who's not in Renatus, okay? Because why? I'm the expert. If you're going to bring me a deal, if you're going to bring me money, and you don't want to join Renatus, I don't care. You're going to go in my bird dog bucket, my money bucket, wherever. That's the whole point in inviting people to Renatus. They're interested in real estate, and they are going to have a resource that you may need in the future. In this case, this guy has a deal. So now we're not going to be insensitive to this. So here's what I do. The hardest thing is we have to separate the fact that you want them to be in Renatus and they need Renatus, and then they have this deal. So the way to do that is we have to ask some questions, right? So we're going to ask them, literally, I would call them up. I'd say, listen, to qualify for the time, like, let me get on the phone with you and talk about this, right? And let's and maybe have some bullet points written down. I mean this, like, kind of think about it, right? So the easiest way is to connect them to someone in Ohio who's got the experience. But you may have an opportunity to take advantage of the situation where you can put yourself into the deal, number one. So you could be a part of the deal. So before you do that, none of us want to take advantage of people and take their deals just because they don't know how to do it. So we want to provide them with a solution that enables them to be the majority, they'll take the lion's share of their deal that they have. So, or, help out their situation here. If that's the case, it's overpriced. And she's inherited this house and he's trying to help her or get in on the deal, whatever it is. So we ask those questions, you guys. We got to qualify at the time, go, listen, what is it you want to do? Like, what do you want to do with the house? Where do you want to be? Like, find out what it is their objection is. And like, well, I just thought I could make some money, maybe buy the education if I could get through this deal. And, that's when it comes out. It's got to be like, listen, so what do you know how to do? Like well, I thought that's where you guys would come in to help me, help me do it. I said, and I would say, listen, okay, have you ever heard of a bird dog, right? Yeah, bird dog. Okay, so a bird dog basically brings me a seller. And when they bring me a seller, if I buy the property, not when I resell it, but when I buy it, I pay them as part of my acquisitions costs, right? I figure out a way to legally get them some money. So if you're bringing me this deal and I buy this deal, or if I partner with some of my Renatus people, my community, and we buy this deal, or I wholesale them the deal, whatever it ends up being, I'm going to give you a piece of the pie, but it's going to be a very small piece, right? What I'm offering you is the opportunity to be a part of the deal where you could be the wholesaler. You could learn how to put it in a contract. So you could, but you get that through your education. Does that make sense? So we'd really have to find out what it is that they want. But if they are adamant about it, if they don't feel like they have the money and they don't want to look for the money and this deal is more important to them, then I would find out as if that person was a seller, and I would treat them like a seller, treat them like a deal bringer, a wholesaler or something like that, and attack it that way. If you're not familiar with that and you're not through your education yet and you haven't done it before, then you could partner with somebody or get their advice, call me and I can help you with it. And we can see how we can spin it to make them see the value in having this. Because, here's the thing, I'm going to get to the rest of these guys. Here's the thing about this is that this is going to happen to them more than once, was they start to get into real estate and this one deal comes along and they're like, well, if I could just get this done, my cousin, if they're talking to people about real estate, there's constantly people coming across real estate that they're not going to know what to do with. And we have to remind them that we have situations where all of the time people are like, oh, I got this house. Oh, I got this person who's selling this house. Oh, I ran into this. I saw this on my way to work. It was vacant. What should I do? All of these things and they have no idea. They have no idea what they're doing. And it's going to constantly be that way. And they're trying to do something that they don't know how. So I hope that helps. And if not, Heather, you know how to reach me, and I'll put my number in here again, just so everybody has it. 760-533-3141. And if you guys have more to touch on that and you want to type in any chats or call or step out of the phone, just go ahead and we can elaborate that conversation. How does someone subscribe to an active OES? I have one set up, but don't know how to have people sign up for it. Oh, cool. So Billy Tully OES is the optional event service. That is the subscription. That is the business builder subscription. So if you want to, and everybody, basically, and I know most of you know this, but if you're you guys know this, if you're an ICM, I don't care if you own education or not, you are entitled and privileged to put out an event. You can host it at your house, an office, a luncheon, the park. I don't care where you host it. As long as it's an approved event by Renatus, you go in your back office and it says, create event, and you can create an event. You can also create an event fee. You can put it on a business subscription, which means that people that want to build for your events, they can either pay individually for individual events and individual guests. You can set it up where the ICM pays, but no guest pay. You can pay where everybody pays if it's like an intensive, whatever you want to do. There's all kinds of options on how to set up the event. And you can do this as an ICM in good standing. You do not have to be 5-star, 1-star, 3-star. You don't have to be any stars. You don't have to be anything except an in good standing ICM, and you can have an event. Make sure that you know this, folks, across the country. Any intros for presentations, 5 pillars, Spanish intros, which are only in Utah, but right now, any profits intros, those events are all free, no matter what. The host cannot charge for those events. Renatus has specifically said that. That's an intro for free so I could put anybody in any event across the country as an intro. The follow-ups, the property tours, the ICM trainings, any type of extra trainings, things like that. Those are extra events that are put on by the host of the event. And whether they're using it at their house and they're providing water, they're creating an event, they're putting money and effort and time into it, and they are entitled to charge for people to attend that event. And so that is what the OES is, and that's why it helps when you want to build for those events and bring guests to those events and go to those trainings. You just pay a very minimal fee, or you can pay a monthly fee, which covers the entire month to month of all the events in that particular area, right? So if I want to go to a Phoenix event, I live right here in Phoenix, and I'm paying the OES for us at Scottsdale, I have to pay for a Phoenix unless I go to an intro. That's the only free thing. All right. Awesome. All right, good. So here's what I'm going to tell you, and you guys can keep coming up with questions. I'm going to keep going because that's actually a couple of these questions are pretty good. I was thinking about this, and for the most part, I believe that most people that enroll in the education, there's a couple things we need to know. Number one is, and it's those 4 money-making activities, I swear. And so this is when I got started in 16 and 17, I didn't have a lot of, I wasn't really working on my warm market, right? I didn't have a team, right? I was still an ICM in 2016, so I didn't have to get 5-star qualified. I had been that since 2008. But, and I just paid, even when we transitioned over. And so I placed ads on Craigslist when we used to be able to put ads in the job section right before compliance. And so that's where I developed my people. And I started to develop skills by talking to a lot of cold market people, right? We know that the more people we talk to, the more times we screw up. Trust me when I say I overtalk myself all the time. I can talk myself in and out of a sale in a heartbeat by explaining things too much. But what I'm getting at is, if you don't, number one, if you don't have the leads coming through the pipeline and you don't have enough people and the information, your business is going to be slow. It's not going to be easy, because it's only one, I don't know, in 100 that are going to go to 1, 2, or 3 events, and they're going to be ready to enroll, and they're going to be ready, able, and willing. I call them a raw client. It's my favorite, acronym for people that need to be, they're ready to enroll, right? So the timing is right. That means that the stars are aligned. Something in their life has got them looking for something else, and they're ready. Then they're willing, right? Which means not only are they ready to enroll, but they're willing to take the plunge. They're willing to do the work. They're willing to invest the money. They're willing to take a chance, and they're willing to gamble on Renatus and the fact that it's not a scam and all those things, and that they're not going to, fail like they have in the past on some businesses or ventures or whatever. And they're interested in real estate. So everything is working out to where they're willing to go do this thing, right? Like willing to move. If your friends ask you to move, yeah, I'm ready. I'm not really doing anything this weekend, but are you willing to go do it, right? Are you going to benefit from it? Is it worth it if you volunteer your time to go help your friend move on a hot summer day, right? But most importantly, are you able? Like physically, can they do it? Do they have a broken leg, a broken arm? Are they overweight? They're out of shape, or they're tired, or they're hungover, right? So in this case, our able is simply just being financially able to do it. So we have to there's a lot of people that are 2 out of the 3, and some people that are 1 out of the 3. But in order for someone to enroll, they have to be all 3, in my opinion. And so we don't get that every time. People can become willing and they can become able, or they could become ready. And that takes time in the follow-up, right? Or the drip system, the campaign systems and stuff like that. But what we struggle with is we don't find people that are all 3 right away. And so when they're not raw, we cradle them until they become raw, and we put a lot of energy on that. And so the difference between like people that are making $10,000 a month and people that are not making $10,000 a quarter, or even ever making 10,000, I believe is typically, it's not always, there are the exceptions like a Bobby Tierney, even a Keely Austin, even Jen Harmon on my team, a little bit of Brian Beto has experienced this, even Lee Morris has experienced this, where we should have had a few more sales than we did. That's gonna happen, right? But over time, that will balance out. You'll have all of a sudden where you make 3 or 4 sales. And I'm not talking over time like 6 months or a year, I'm talking over time over 3 or 4 or 5 years. And so, that will balance out. All of a sudden you'll have 2 or 3 people that will enroll within a short period of time, only a certain number of people versus, I went, with 100 people that didn't enroll yet. Okay. So what I'm getting at is this. This happens to everybody, I believe. I can't speak for the pack. I'm not on the pack. But I can speak for even the pit, right? The pit, on the pit last year, there was at least 1, 2, 3, 4. I think there were over at least 5 of us that made over 100,000 last year. Well, over 100,000, over 150. I don't know the number exactly. But I can tell you that tracking our numbers, it's not always consistent every month. Like we drop down to 5,000 or 10,000 in a month, and then we go up to 20 or 30 or whatever thousand in a month, right? And so I believe that the difference is that it's the number. We're just talking to more people than everybody else that's marketing Renatus, and we are getting more people through the system. Now, yes, you're going to get more. I'm just checking the chats out, so we're good. If you guys have any other people you're working with, so where I'm going with this is that me in general. So I have 5 X's up there just within the last 2 months of people that I would have believed would have enrolled, that I would be at least $40,000 up higher on my numbers than I am right now. And I think I'm close to like 40,000 right now for the month. So I've only been making 10,000 a month for the first 4 months of the year. And I expected to be making about 30,000 a month for the first 4 months. So that puts me back at least $50,000 to $80,000 behind. Now, I have a pipeline that can fill that gap really quickly, starting with one of them today. But it's not where it goes. I've had a lot of people that I assumed, over the time that I've spent with them, that would enroll. I have a gentleman, for example, that is a doctor. Not that matters, but he's a doctor, and he is hell-bent on doing a deal. He's like, I'm ready to do a deal. I want to put money into the deal. And then once I make money in the deal, I'm going to, then I could see buying some education. And I have tried to overcome this objection, and I'm going to get on the call with him again this week. And so I got to think about it. Like, let's talk through it since no one else has another person they're working with. So this guy's a doctor. He's totally ready and he's totally able to fund the education without a doubt. And I know for a fact that he's done some deals where he's invested money, right? And he's made money in real estate, but it's very passive investor, right? He's put money into like a syndication, where he gets a certain percentage of return back on some apartment buildings they're buying. And these guys don't want to help him really. They don't really, he's like, oh, I want to be hands-on. I want to be a partner, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, well, we don't really do that. We just borrow people's money. And so then he also got into this thing with him and his wife where they were going to do this big Amazon store. And they, bought into this program. And then once you dive into it, it's a lot more complicated than it sounds. I have a student who did the exact same thing. Started out at $2,000. As someone who's already spent 20 grand with us. The marketing's not working, right? So he says, and so he's going to make extra money really quickly. So make really quick money on Amazon store, and then they're going to help you, get the right sponsors and the right, distributors and all this crap. But then you get into it, and then you got to do what? You got to spend more money. So then they end up spending almost $30,000 on this Amazon program, and it's way more complicated than they thought. It's very specific. It's very time-oriented. And he's a doctor, and his wife's a psychologist. There's no way they'd have to have time to do all this stuff. And so it failed, you know what I mean? It didn't pan out the way they wanted. So now, there's a little bit of bite sting there. But he's still got resources. And then he's like, hey, I've got all these other doctors that want to invest. Once they see me do a deal, to me, it only makes sense that you buy the education. And for him, it only makes sense that he does the deal. He's like, well, I've got the money. Why don't we partner on a deal? So let's think about it. So I'm not going to partner with him on a deal. Like his money isn't not worth anything to me. But what's more valuable to me is a couple of things. Number one is I believe that it's more valuable to me in the long run if he joins the community, because he will in the future bring more people to the community. And anytime anybody's bringing more people to the community, the people that I have in the community and my team members, the people that I've enrolled in the community, will benefit from the community. And so the bigger it grows, the more, who knows what somebody that once they enroll is going to bring to the table. I know he's going to have more resources from his doctor friends, and he's not going to be able to do it all on his own. Hopefully, eventually he will, and he won't need me, but I can help him raise money for himself, for me, for our deals, whatever it takes. And so, but most importantly, I know that it's going to value him. He's told me he doesn't want to be the private investor. He wants to be a hands-on investor, right? So then I got to think to myself, well, okay, if I'm going to partner with this guy, what does that look like? Why not just partner with him? But what he doesn't understand is when I partner with somebody on money, the deal is like a train. The deal goes on with or without that partner. So even if they're not a lender, but their money has made them, like the only thing he can bring to the table for me is money. And the money is the least valuable in my whole formula of my deal equation. So if somebody wants to manage my project, if somebody wants to bring me a buyer, if someone wants to bring me the deal, or if somebody wants to bring me the money, they're in the deal as a partner. If we structure it that way, they get a percentage, 10%, 20%, 30% max, right? But that's it. That's the extent of what they need to do. Bring me the buyer, bring me the seller. Once you bring me the seller or bring me the deal and I buy the deal, or I partner with you on the deal and I just take over the deal, that's all you have to do. You're done. Your job's done. My job is to fund it, fix it, manage it, sell it, right? If someone brings me the buyer, then they're in on the deal, right? And so that's all they need to do. They don't have to bring me the buyer and see it to the end. I'm going to take the buyer and make sure it goes to closing, because everything, I control the whole deal. So their job is done. So I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, you want to be hands-on as a partner. I don't have a problem partnering with your money, but the only thing you're going to get is a little bit more money at the end of the deal if it all goes well. You're not going to get more experience. Well, I want to learn. Okay, yeah, you can learn. I'm totally fine. If you want to meet me at the house, if you want to, but I'm not going to have you do anything in the deal that is going to bring some value to the deal, right? You're not going to be like picking the colors. You're not going to be like out shopping you're not going to hire any of the people. You're not going to vet any of the people because you have no knowledge and no experience. It's of no value to me. And so I'm going to call you and go, oh, I'm heading over to the house. If you want to meet me, I'm going to talk to Jimmy, the flipper, or the painter. What's he going to do? Like leave the doctor's office and come over there and go? Like I'm not going to plan it. Those things don't really get planned out, right? So it's very difficult to have anybody learn. Even people that don't have a job that invest with me with their money and they get in on the deal and they're partners, maybe the first deal and maybe the first time they'll walk with me. And every once in a while, once out of 3 months or 4 months, will they show up at the house. And they'll learn some stuff. Like I'll teach them. We'll sit down, we'll grab a cup of coffee, eat some lunch afterwards or whatever. And there will be a training, a learning session. But it's not like they're there every day. If I could just shadow you all day long, I could learn from you. I'm a hands-on guy. Okay, great. Have you ever done that? Are you gonna take a hiatus? You're gonna take a break from work, and you're just gonna be ready, waiting for me to. You're gonna sit at my doorstep and then watch me. No, and I'm not gonna call you. I don't have time to call you every time. Things happen so fast. I don't even think about it. Okay, so back to this point is, you know. The thing is, what's interesting is it's been 2 months or I don't know, maybe a month and a half that we've been working with this doctor. If he'd have bought the education already, and this is what I'm going to say to him next time, I think, if he'd have bought the education already, then at some point he would have already been 6 weeks into studying and possibly have his own deal already. He could possibly have raised money already. He could possibly understand the project management side of things and could have a lot more to bring to the table. Time is money. And the people understand that, yeah, I'm going to eventually get the money, get the education, but I want to do this first or that first or this first. Education and the community will expedite the amount, how fast someone gets into a deal. It's not guaranteed that they're going to go do a deal, but if they don't do a deal in the first 6 to 10 months with the education, how long is it going to take them to do the deal without the education? They've been trying to do a deal for 2 years. Like ask them, how many deals have you think you've missed? How many opportunities do you think you've missed because you're not educated, right? So, all right, I'm going to move on to, and if anybody has any thoughts, type them in on or chat it out on this doctor thing. Okay, I have a lead that saw the intro and follow-up and then said she is asking people for their options about what she saw when a follow-up when she is asked, and then she is asking, okay, and follow-up, and then she is asking people for their options about what she saw when those she is asking haven't seen our info. Okay. What questions would you ask to get her to see that this is about what she wants, not what others tell her to do? Like bigger pockets and ask questions in groups. Oh, okay. Okay. All right. Good question, Megan. Okay. So honestly, we've got to look at this from an honest perspective. There's nothing wrong with that. Like it doesn't make sense to us. But like, okay, if you were to go to Michigan State and you did an orientation, or your daughter or somebody goes to a college and gets an orientation at the college, and then their friends are back at high school and they come back and their parents went to Georgia and Notre Dame, and they come back and they're like, hey, what do you think of Michigan State? You know, I was thinking about going there, and I went to the orientation. And they're like, well, I hate Michigan. It's cold. If you go down to Georgia, it's warm. You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing wrong with getting that opinion. Like, we wouldn't be like, oh, my God, that's so dumb. Why would you go to somebody who went to Georgia and ask them about it? It's still a college. There's still some connections there where somebody went to college. They have an idea of other colleges, but they have a very general perspective. So we have to be objective and because we're biased, we want them to see it's not right that they're asking somebody else. Now, you're right. Here's some of the questions you can ask them. Go, what is it like? If you ask, like, I'm talking to this girl, I'm like, okay, great. I totally understand why you're checking out other people and you're asking other people who've never seen this for information about us. But what is it about what they're going to say that's going to tell you and help you make a decision? Like, I'm just curious. Well, I want to know if they think it's a scam. Okay. All right, cool. What else? Like what? Well, if they said, hey, I've heard that place is awesome, education is the way to go. Or if I want to see if people think I don't need the education, because if I could spend the money, I could learn this on my own through YouTube and everything else. I want to find out what people's opinions are. Okay, great. So what are some of the things that people would say to you that would say, oh yeah, you would make you make the decision to get Renatus? Well, someone might say, yeah, that they bought it before and it was awesome, or they know their friend that did it, right? So you're looking to find out information, find out what she's looking for and why she's trying to get confirmation from some people that don't know really much about it, right? Like what kind of confirmation and why do you need that? Why do you need that validation? What is it that you don't trust or know about Renatus? Like on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being you're ready to start and you understand Renatus and you believe in the product and the services and that you're going to do it. And 1 being, you've talked to everybody in Bigger Pockets and they tell you it's a scam. Where do you see yourself? Oh, well, I'm like a 7. Okay, so what is it between a 7 and a 10 that you're having trouble with? Because maybe I can get you a YouTube video or a testimony, or I can tell you a story, or I can share with you some information, not to make you change your mind, but to get you enough information so you go from a 7 to a 10 so you can make a decision. Not that you're going to start, but that you have enough information so you can get it from a source. Let me ask you this, and this is another question. Let me ask you this. If you were avid about finding out about the coronavirus, and maybe we shouldn't use that, so I'm going to skip that one. If you were avid about finding out about nutrition, and you were deciding on a plant-based diet and a meat diet, and you felt like you were eating a lot of meat, and you had heard good things about a plant-based diet. And so you went to a bodybuilder, Ron Williams, and he builds his world on meat protein. That's how he builds his muscle. That's what he believes in. That's what he feels, thinks, and acts. Do you think that you're going to get a good opinion on someone who's never done a plant-based diet, who's never worked out that way, in fact, works out the exact opposite way? Do you think you're going to get the information you need from that person? And they're going to be like, well, probably not, right? Wouldn't you want to check with somebody who either has done both or has a non-biased opinion on plant-based, or maybe you'd want to read a book from a doctor who has a doctor's perspective and has nothing to do with, they don't even exercise plant-based or not, right? You guys get my point. So that might be some of the questions you would ask that person is why. But we've got to qualify for that time. And that's when, you listen to Richard talk, and you listen to some people, and we really go to the depth questions about really what they're looking for and what because they're afraid of something. They don't have enough knowledge to make a decision about Renatus, so they're asking these questions. This is a common, if people want the community knowledge without the investment, they always come with a deal. Yeah, I mean, okay. People are moving. I gotta love this. Okay, so I know the Zoom meeting will explain more, but what kind of REI is this exactly? What kind of real estate investment is this exactly? Again, would I need to buy a course or anything? Just got this question, don't want to lie. Okay, so Heather says, I know the Zoom meeting will explain, well, what kind of REI is this? Okay, real estate investment, real estate investing like community, REIA. Is this exactly? I would need to buy a course, or again, would I need to buy a course or anything? So here's the thing. If you ask this question, if you answer this question, they most likely will never buy. And to be honest, if they're asking this question, they're most likely never going to buy. It's just a fact. All right. So the way you can judge these people is answer the question and see if they still come. And they probably won't, or they'll go maybe anyway, and they won't pay attention and they're never going to buy. Or you can ask the question, answer the question honestly, and then when we give an answer, we tell. When we tell, we don't sell. And then if this person still goes to the event and still interested, maybe you've got a winner there, and you might have that 1 in 100. But in theory, people buy on emotion. People need to be challenged. They want you to steer them. So the investment in this particular person is that you've got to ask why they're asking this. I don't understand what you mean. Could you tell me more about that, right? Then they're going to say, well, are you just selling me something, or is it where I join a community and we all work together? Well, let me ask you, have you joined a community before? Like, are you part of a RIA? Well, yeah. And so, okay. And what does it look like? Is anybody actually doing deals down there? Or, is it just a bunch of people who want to do real estate, right? You start to ask these questions. Then you could say, listen, let me ask you this. You mentioned that, am I just going to sell you something, or is this something that there's a course to buy? Have you ever bought a program before? Have you ever bought a book? Have you ever bought a video online or gone to a seminar? I'm just curious, if you're teaching. Have you ever gotten educated in any type of trade before, and any type of skill set? Have you ever been educated in that skill set? I don't care, whatever you do. Yeah, of course I have. Okay, did you pay for it? Did you pay for education in college? The reason these I'm not comparing the two. I'm just asking, why do you care so far? You're looking to learn to invest in real estate. Why do you care if there's a program? Like, even if there is, and we'll get to that, are you not interested in at least finding out about it before you make your mind up about it? Or, like, this is when, again, we vet for the time. If we really care about this person and we really want to enroll them and we really want to work with them, we have to ask the hard questions, and we have to find out more about it. And then, again, we'll almost avoid the question of the course. And then we can say this. Let me ask you this. There's going to be a guy, his name's Michael, or his name's Scott Rowe, or Bob Tierney, whoever's doing the presentation. And they did this, 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 and this. And then there's going to be this other testimony, this guy, Dane Clark, this guy, Bill Predebon, this guy, blah, 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 me, whatever. And this happened and this happened. If any of those things make sense to you and they sound good, would you care if there's an opportunity to join the community and buy a community? Like, you have an opportunity to join the community for free, but you also have an opportunity to get educated. Would you care if there's a course? Would you still want to see the opportunity? If that was possible and these things actually happen, these stories, and they say, okay, then you've created value for the thing, and it takes away from the thought about the fact that they would have to buy a course. Okay, and again, it's going to depend on how depth you want to go into those questions. So I understand not wanting to lie. I'm watching the time here, so I got a few more comments I'm going to get to. I understand about not wanting to lie, but telling the truth straight out is telling. And most likely, it's a good way to go, and they're gone. Because when people ask me this question and they are concerned, they've already made up their mind. They're not buying a course. They've either bought one before, or they're just not interested, or honestly, flat out, they just don't feel like they can afford it. I don't have the money, I got the time, and I'm going to go figure this out on my own. Human freaking nature. All right? And you're going to try to convince them otherwise. But if you really dive into their drive a little bit, and I'm not a big drive guy myself, but I am absolutely a believer in pushing their buttons and finding out about. So I shouldn't say that. I'm just saying I haven't studied the drive system. I sometimes regret that I haven't, but I mean, I've studied it now. But I mean, I'm not a full blown drive guy and trained with Woody and all that stuff. But there's power and all of this in the drive. You should at least have a general idea of drive. It is, or any of the 4 personalities. In Woody's case, the 5 personalities, the 5 way people buy and feel and think. And so, we have to ask their questions and figure out where they're at. If you do that and you really figure out what's holding them back and why they would ask that question, like, why would you ask that question? Right? Like, then, and give some demonstrations, then you can decide if you want to try to work with that person. Okay. So absolutely, I'm not really sure. Okay, yes. Okay, cool. I'm hoping that, I don't know if those are going to. Hugs to you, Sheena. I must have missed it. Your response to that question, that's a great question. What kind of RE are you looking for exactly? Okay. Okay, yeah, good. Would you trust a surgeon who learned to operate on YouTube? And so, Jimmy, I like this. Okay, I like this thought. You guys, we'll end on this one. Okay, and so when I did a one-on-one with the surgeon, with this guy, he's a doctor guy, and I said the same thing. It makes sense. Like, you're not gonna trust a surgeon who isn't studied at med school. Okay, but there's a difference, you guys. The difference is, if I go practice surgery and pretend like I'm a doctor, I'm gonna go to jail. It's illegal, right? And I'm probably going to kill somebody. I'm probably going to hurt them, maim them, give them the wrong medicines. I can't prescribe medicine. It's a bullcrap analogy, right? And I mean, honestly, it makes sense. We're not going to go trust a surgeon We're not going to go trust, oh, would you trust a framer if they didn't know how to frame and they didn't have an apprenticeship? Yeah, but we will. We're going to go pay the cheapest handyman we can to do a job, and then it's going to screw it up. But no one's going to die and no one's going to jail. In real estate, you can learn to do real estate. People partner together all the time when both people don't know what the heck they're doing. People join Renatus and spend 20 grand, and they partner with a guy who's been in Renatus a week. Because they get together, one has money and one has a deal, supposedly, and they both lose their butts. Everybody loses their money, and the two people hate each other, and Renatus gets sued. It's a fact. So, but people are going to do it anyway. Why? There's no jail. I can always file bankruptcy or whatever, and it's not a big deal. There's no death. In surgery, in law school,
You can leave the
trust a
gate
lawyer to
open
go to.
now.
That has a lot bigger
The door
consequences
was
than
locked.
trying to do real estate on your own. So we can present that analogy, but it's got to be on a realistic, because it's kind of like that thing where we're like, oh, when we talk to people about going to the movies and we're like, oh, you tell people about your restaurants and you don't have a problem doing that, but why won't you tell them about Renatus? Yeah, but not the same. We absolutely know that Renatus is a $20,000 ticket price, that we're trying to sell them something, that we are going to our family on something we don't even know if it works because it hasn't worked for us yet. And you want me to go tell them like it's a movie? I can go tell people it's a movie that I love, and if they don't go to the movie, I don't give a crap. But I'm going to get all nervous and all weirded out when I don't know how to tell people about Renatus. And now you're telling me that I need to go tell. It's a good analogy, but it's not even the same. In fact, we should throw the analogy away, in my opinion. It's crap. There's no question that telling people about Renatus is a skill set, and it has nothing to do with telling people about going to a restaurant that we like or going to a movie. All right, let's be real about that. So cool, Jimmy. I appreciate it. Anthony, yes, I meant to do that. I can't believe I didn't do that for you. And I know you called me, so I'm going to call you back, brother. Maybe I can call you. I'll definitely call you by today or tomorrow.
But on that point, Bill, I think everything in perspective. I mean, you wouldn't get the guy to do, they both work with wood. You would maybe let him do framing, but you're not exactly going to let him do the trusses of the roof. I think that's the point. Everything in perspective, right?
What do you mean? Say it again.
So, everything in perspective. So recommend a movie compared to recommend Renatus. What I'm saying is that you'd get the guy to do the framing of a door if he didn't have a qualification, but you're probably not going to let him do the trusses and the roof. So, everything in perspective. I'm agreeing with you. I'm saying like the doctor and the surgeon, you've got to put it into perspective.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. So that means like if I was just going to help somebody with a cold and I'm not a doctor and I may recommend some vitamin C or something, that would make sense. But when it comes to cutting the guy open and having open heart surgery, yeah, absolutely, right? So it is all in perspective. You're right. There is a correlation. That's why we use the analogy, right? If there wasn't a correlation, the analogy wouldn't even come together. We wouldn't say that. But yeah, you're absolutely right. You're not going to
Bill,
have.
how do you talk to somebody about being an ICM if you know that's exactly the ideal thing for them? What do you say to them if you can't say, you refer people to restaurants and movies and you don't get paid? I thought that was pretty brilliant, but you're saying it's not. So what's your alternative?
Are you in a bar?
So the thing is, you're referring them to it. There's a difference. I think, again, it comes down to perspective, right? You've seen it work. And so in your perspective, you've seen it work for this person and that person. If you're brand new in perspective, you're not sure if it works. Don't have that confidence level yet. It's kind of like the same thing with the framing guy. If you're going to employ somebody who's going to help carry the wood, or if he's actually going to do the framing, or if he's going to do the truss. Now, if the guy's 30 years in the business and he doesn't have a certificate to do trusses, but he's got a business and that's been doing it for 20 years, you're still probably going to employ him. Yep. So what the analogy that they often use is, what I learned? Why and that's a good way to frame it, right? Excuse the pun. But it's literally framing. So I learned that this person has been doing this. Bill has been doing this. He nearly lost everything. He had the pizzerias, and then he moved across and he did this and this and this. So you make the story relevant and into the perspective, and then it can work. But just giving the analogy by itself, it doesn't make sense.
Right. So Sandra, say it one more time what you said. How do you tell one of your ICMs to do it?
How do I tell somebody who's not even involved in Renatus to look? Not everybody's interested in real estate, but I know a lot of people now that can use cash flow. And so I'm trying to figure out how I can entice them to take a look at the education so they understand what they could be referring. I do have one person who's trying to figure out the money, but even she said, no, I'm not going to refer anybody to anything until I'm in it and I do it and I know it works. So I can respect her wanting to go to college, so to speak, before she recommends the university. I got that. But for somebody brand new who is out of work, needs money, and I say to them, we have an opportunity I'd really like you to look at. There's a way for you to earn money by referring the education. I'd like you to take a look at what we have and see if it resonates with you. We've been around, we're solid, we're privately held, we're debt free. People earn because we don't advertise, the referrals come back out to the field. I think it's a win-win, will you take a look at it? I don't know what else to say.
So folks, here's one thing we got to remember. It is absolutely never about us. As we sell the product, our job is to introduce people to the opportunity to see it. Then it becomes about them, right? Now we still have to have some skill set in closing them, but so you're talking to someone who's never experienced anything before, but we have this referral problem, this referral option. Okay, so here's number one. The industry is $1 billion plus industry, which is real estate investing education. Online education and trade industry education is a multi-billion-dollar industry, and there's a demand for it. Okay. Number two is most people want one of three things that we offer, or four things, right? They want to have extra money, they want to pay less in taxes, they want to pay off debt, and they want to invest in real estate. 2.9 out of 3 people want to invest in real estate, but they don't know how, right? So we offer these services. We offer this opportunity for people. So your job as a person selling the education is simply ask somebody if they're interested in that. And if they are, you put them in front of the information. You're not providing the information. You're not giving them the information. You're not teaching them the information. You're not even partnering with them on the deal. You're simply offering the education. Then you are going to enter their order. And nowadays with Helios, they can enter their own order. They just have to see enough information if they like the product. If they buy the product, they're not going to buy it because you like it, because you've done it, because you've used it, or anything like that. You're selling an industry. Like if there was an opportunity for us, like let's think about this, to sell a Toyota. And for every Toyota you sold, you made $10,000. Every one of us would sell a Toyota. Why? Some Toyota places are selling hundreds and hundreds of cars a month, right? Those things are flying off the shelves. If we had an opportunity, there's a demand for the product. If we had an opportunity that we could sell a drug, and the drug is a diabetic drug, okay? And a very popular, or a high blood pressure drug, right? And we didn't have to be a pharmacist. We could just get it in a company. We could join the company and sell it. We don't even have high blood pressure, but we're going to sell the darn drug if we could get 50% every single month from every time someone buys it, because 1 billion people buy it, right? So that's the opportunity. Is we have $1 billion industry. We have a product that's in demand and a service that is in demand. And it's up to the people if it works for them, great. If they like it, great. It's all up to them. So that's what I tell the ICM that's looking to make cash flow and looking to see what we have, right? Did that help?
Yeah, that helps. And I can try to draw something from that to make them see where we fit in the big picture of the real estate education market. And what I said to one person, I just sent a text earlier. I said, if you don't share this information, you're depriving people of an opportunity. And I just want you to be aware of what we have in case someone crosses your path that you can bless. I have felt for the last year that I've been a secret agent. I am so guilty of not telling people because I had a full-time job on Facebook. I am the promotional products person, and I've been trying my very best to figure out how I'm going to magically transition from promo person for 20 years into real estate investor overnight. And I have this credibility issue in my mind. Maybe it's not anybody else's mind, but I don't know how to get that message out. So I'm excited that with the social media training and all this good stuff, there's going to be some light bulb that's going to go off in my head that's going to be able to say, you know, I've seen the light. There's something new. There's a better way, you know, and I want to share it. And I got to figure out, you know, how I do that. I have not been able to recruit any ICMs in a year. I had one guy come in. He did absolutely nothing. I couldn't even get him into the back office. So
Okay.
I thought to myself, I'm doing something wrong.
Okay, check this out, you guys. So this is phenomenal, Sandra. So check this out. Number one is I know it's minor. We're gonna start with your language. You've said I want to tell and I want to share and I want people to know that this is the opportunity, and anybody who doesn't share this is selfish, right? So our language needs to be, do they want, what is it that they want? And instead of telling people and doing what we want, right? Then we have to ask them what they're interested in. They have to want to see it in order for it to be of value. Okay. Number two is, so I kind of lost my thought there, but we need to stay away from the words, some of our language on what we want. And when we come to the realization that this is the greatest opportunity. So with that said, some of the things that we need to understand, you guys, as ICMs, is that it's very difficult in our own consciousness to know that, okay, I know Jimmy did it, and Bill did it, and Dane did it, and Michael did it, but I haven't done it, and Bob hasn't done it, and Marty hasn't done it, Carla hasn't done it, whatever. And so we know that not everybody's making money yet, and we know that not everybody's doing deals, right? So we have this conscious, we're good human being people that we don't want to tell them because there is a subconscious fear that they might not do it. And especially if it's a friend or family, they spend this $20,000 and nothing happens. And so here's the thing that we got to realize that's going to be more valuable than anything of any story that's happening. If you listen to Ron Williams yesterday on the webinar, and you think about Troy Dunn, and you think about some of the education, Mark Kohler, even Eric Counts, these people are so good. And then you take the PAC members, they give so much. They provide so much value, and there's so much information, and there's so much knowledge there that people don't know. Whether they apply it or not doesn't matter. But there's also this genuineness, this truthfulness, this experience that is where the value is. That is where, like, the people that, and Troy Dunn said this, Ron Williams said this yesterday. He said, Bob, you somehow, and he was talking about Troy Dunn, surround yourself with some amazing people, right? And Rob Sperry has said this. He's like, you know, I just can't, I've traveled all over and I give this information out, and I can't believe the people that Bob Snyder creates around himself, brings into the thing. And then you have these leaders, right? And then like Ron Williams is working with a Sumari, right? And Sumari's awesome, right? And just her personality is incredible. And these are the things that sell. These are the things we should be talking about. The people and the community and the value, the goodness of these folks. And it has nothing to do with the real estate. The real estate and the money is a byproduct. It's the actual surroundings, like these types of calls that we're on right now, and the experiences that we have, and these instructors, and listening to them and give back. And like Mark Kohler would give you the shirt off his back. The guy would provide so much information. Bob Snyder would make sure that he's not going to have anybody in the way. He's going to do everything he can where FTC is not going to shut us down. He will do everything he can to get the right people. He will re-record the class. He will pay for Helios. He will do the things, and he surrounds himself with the same people that will do all of those things to get it. And that's where our belief will change. And we can truly say that if you get this information, if you pay for this education, if you join this community, you will experience some of the greatest people in the country that I've ever been a part of. And you will mean that sincerely. It's hard for us to mean it sincerely when we say, hey, if you buy this education, you know, you're going to be life changed. You're going to make all these financial things are going to happen to you. We don't know that for a fact because we don't know what they're going to do. But if they watch the education, even in their 7-day right of rescission, there's not a single person that's going to go, wow, that sucked. Like, that is not worth it. Like, I would not listen to that person again. You put them in front of any of the instructors and they will be like, holy crap. The value alone in the education, if I never do anything with it, I just learned something I've never thought possible. And that's where the value is.
Hey, Bill.
Yeah.
Hey, Bill.
Yep.
This is Joey back with.
Well, go ahead, Charlene.
I wanted to. Do you mind if I share something really quick that I think would add an abundance of value to the situation that I was in, the same situation that Miss Sandra was in, and I think I can share something. Anyways, the 4 core beliefs, man. The 4 core beliefs, when I really put them to my heart, and you know, when I stopped thinking about it, and I looked at, okay, is this the number one income opportunity, or does everyone need this, or are we doing them a favor, or is it their loss if they say no? Is this true?
Right.
When I put that to my heart and I actually believed it, things started to adjust for me. No, I didn't become a millionaire overnight. However, what I did was my conversation started to be a lot different with a lot of people, and they feel, they're like, yo, you're really into this thing, like you're plugged in. So I think that'll add some value to you.
So Charlene, you're 100.
Also backing up what you said.
You're 100% right. And that goes all the way back to passion. Your passion will grow in sharing. And I'm not saying, Sandra, that you don't have the 4 core beliefs. Don't get me wrong. But as that becomes embedded in us and we have that belief, if you think about anything, folks, that you've ever believed in, whether you're raising your children, whether you are dealing with your spouse, or your work, and you believe in something so true and so deep in whether they should play football or not play football, whether they should swear or lie or cheat or not cheat, or they should, whatever it is you believe in, you say it with conviction, because it's what you truly believe. It's who you are and how you feel and the way your kids should be grown up, the way they should be raised, the way that the school should, you know, be able to allow them to say the national anthem, or whatever it is that you believe, you will say it with passion. And it will come back to you with passion because you believe. People say I'm passionate because I'm passionate about real estate and I'm passionate about Bob Snyder and Renatus. I know it for a fact. I've been around it and I've seen it and felt it and trust it. And so as you develop those core beliefs, you will absolutely. Joey, go ahead.
Hey, listen, you're spot on today. You usually are, you're spot on. But can I give you one factoid?
Yep.
Notre Dame has the worst weather of any college on the planet.
I agree.
You brought up it's in South Bend. You know why they call it South Bend? Is because the weather comes from Canada down Lake Michigan and pours all over. Notre Dame has the worst weather of any campus in the United States. My roommate freshman year counted 39 days of straight precipitation from fall to winter. Hey, listen, you're the one thing I don't miss every week. You're spot on, and you're the everyday man. You're the everyday man telling us how this thing telling us how this thing works, and basically asking instead of telling. You exemplify that, and that's why you're successful. And I think you're going to be on pack because of that. And listen, thanks a lot. You're the one guy I don't miss every week. Thank you.
I love you, Joey. You're awesome, brother. Congratulations on your success, too. Thanks, everybody. My dad went to Notre Dame. I know exactly what you mean. I love everybody. You guys, thank you. I can't tell you, you guys stayed an extra 20 minutes. And the contribution, Sandra and Charlene and Joey and everybody and Heather. And it's just, I love you guys. It's just amazing what you guys do for this team and this call. I appreciate everybody here. 760-533-3141. Keep doing it. Keep asking. Whoops, I just put that privately. Cool. Cool. I'm gonna hit everyone.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you, Miguel. You're welcome, Miguel. Thank you.
Bill, thank you so much.
You
Love you,
guys are
brother.
so
Thank you.
welcome. 760-533-3141. That's my phone number. You guys can text or call me, and I'll always try to get back to you as soon as possible. And if I haven't, get to me again. Hit me up again a second time. That way I get reminded that I missed you. With that, everybody, I'll say goodbye. Make it a great Tuesday. Ask, don't tell, and you will be successful. Don't ever learn to quit this business. Don't ever learn to quit, and make it happen. You guys are awesome. You're welcome, Ada, Bobby.
Thanks,
Yeah, you're
guys.
welcome,
Bye.
Heather. Awesome. Cool, everybody. Thanks again. Have a great day.
Thanks, Bill.
You're welcome, Doug. Bye, y'all.